Namaste and welcome back to the DSA classes. Today my friends, we are going to be discussing a program called as maximum consecutive ones in a given array. Now what do you mean by this, you must be asking. Also this question is a LeetCode question and we can go and solve it in LeetCode as well. But what is the question asking? Let me show you. Assume you have an array like this which contains zeros and ones. I hope you're able to understand. Now if you notice carefully, one thing you will observe is that there are some ones which are consecutively appearing. For example, these two ones are coming consecutively, one after the other. These three ones are coming consecutively, one after the other. But what is the count of the maximum consecutive ones? If you notice, it's nothing but 3 because there are 3 consecutive ones. So output is 3. Assume this is the array. What is the count of maximum consecutive ones? 2. So that is the output. This is the array. What is the count of the maximum consecutive ones? If it has all ones, then whatever is the size of the array is only your output, which is 5. And here if you notice, if it is all zeros, obviously answer is 0 because there is no ones. Any confusion till here? Now how can we do this is the question. It's very simple. Let me show you. Now first and foremost, I would like to use the naive approach. I would like to tell you the naive approach. What do you mean by naive approach, sir? If you ask me, an unoptimized, inefficient approach. Okay. So guys, this is the array which has been given to me. This is the array which has been given to me. Okay. Now if you look at this array, there are consecutive ones. 2 consecutive ones, 3 consecutive ones. Output should be 3. Okay. Now how are we going to analyze that if you ask me? That's what I am showing. So what I will do is, I am going to use 2 variables. One called as count to obviously count the number of ones. Another called as max count, which will have the maximum count of the consecutive ones. I hope you are able to think. Now what I will do is, I am going to run a loop on this array A, where I begins from the 0th element and I must go to the end. I hope you are able to think. What I will do is, I will check if in case, okay, what I will do is, to help I calculate the consecutive ones, I will also appoint j, which means outer loop and there is a loop inside that. Whenever I and j both come into the picture, you must understand we are looking at a nested loop situation. Okay. Anyways, j also will initially begin from wherever I is starting and j should go to the end. Now what I will do is I will check if in case this jth element, is it a 1? I will check. Is it a 1? No. No means immediately I will tell, hey j, you stop. I will come out of j and I will tell I, you please move forward. I will move I forward. I hope you are able to think. Then what will I do, sir? What I will do is, again j will start from where I is starting. Now j will check, is the element 1? Yes, it is 1. If it is 1, immediately I will increment the value of count. Count becomes 1. I hope you are able to think. Then again j moves forward. Again I will check, is it a 1? Yes. Which means again I found a consecutive one, I will increment the value of count. Count becomes 2. I hope you are able to understand. Then what happens if you ask me, again j moves forward. The moment j moves forward, what happens is that a 1? No. No means that chain is broken. Now that the chain is broken, what I will do is, immediately I will, the moment it is not 1, I will break out of j and this count value, I will reset it. But before resetting the count value, what I will do is, this max count's duty is to store the maximum consecutives count value. So what I will do is, the moment this chain breaks, I will check which is maximum between these two values. Is the value inside count maximum or is the value inside max count maximum? Whichever is maximum, I will store it inside max count. For example, I will tell max of count and max count. What is maximum between both? 0 or 2, which is maximum? 2, which means I will assign that to max count. Max count is going to become 2. I hope you are able to understand. Any confusion till here? Then what happens, sir? Then I moves forward. J again comes wherever I is. And of course, you will have to, every time I moves forward, you must reset the count to 0. Because again you are counting because chain broke. Okay. Now I will check, is the jth value 1? Yes, I will increment the value of count. I'll be able to think. J moves forward. If j moves forward, I will check, is the jth value 1? No, it is 0. If it is 0, it means a chain is broken, great, but some count of ones I have got. I want to see whether it is greater than the previous maximum. How will you do that? Check whether which is maximum between both, max between count and max count. If I say between 1 and 2, 2 is only maximum, which means max count still remains as 2. Any confusion till here? Now, once you break out, what happens is I moves forward. The moment I moves forward, count value becomes resetted to 0. Again, j will start from wherever I is. J will start from wherever I is. I'll check, is the jth element 1? No, it is 0. 0 means breakout. Breakout, and always check, is the count and max count which is greater. Even now max count is only greater, which means still the highest maximum consecutive we have seen is 2 only. Great. I moves forward. The moment I moves forward, count resets itself to 0. J begins from wherever I is. I will check, is jth value of 1? No. No means breakout. Breakout, and then check which is the max between count and max count. Even now it is 2 only, so max count remains as 2. I moves forward. If I moves forward, then what happens is the count resets itself to 0. It was 0 only anyways. Then j starts from wherever I is. Now I will check, is j equal to 1? Yes. Yes means increment the value of count. Then j moves forward. Is j equal to 1? Yes. Increment the value of count. Count becomes 2. J moves forward. And tell me, is it equal to a 1? Yes. Yes means count increases. It becomes 3. Again, j moves forward, and I will check, is it a 1? No, it is a 0. 0 means I will tell j stop. I will break forcefully. I will break outside, and I will come and I will check some count I have got. Is it greater than the previous max count? By finding max between both. This is 3, that is 2. Which means maximum count has to be 3. That is what I will assign it, and hence max count is going to become 3. I hope you are able to think. Now you are within a loop. I moves forward. I moves forward. I hope you are able to understand. The moment I moves forward, count will reset itself to 0. Count will reset itself to 0. Again, j will start from wherever I is starting. Is j equal to 1? Yes. Yes means increment the value of count. Then j moves forward. Again check, is j equal to 1? Yes. Increment the value of count. Count becomes 2. J moves forward. Tell me, is j equal to 1? No. No means breakout. And then see, whatever count you found, is it greater than the max count? No. No means max count is 3 only. You are within a loop. I moves forward. Whenever I moves forward, count resets itself back to 0. So count becomes 0. How are you able to think? J again starts from wherever I starts. J starts wherever I starts. And then is j equal to 1? Yes. Yes means increment the value of count. Count becomes 1. J moves forward. If j moves forward, you have now encountered 0. Breakout of j. See whether the count you got is greater than the previous max count. No, max count is only greater, so it is 3 only. Then after which I moves forward. When I moves forward, count always will be resetted back to 0. Now we are able to understand. Then I will check, is j equal to 1? No, 1 means breakout. See which is maximum. It is still max count only. You are within a loop. I moves forward. If I moves forward, it will go outside the boundary. Execution stops. And ultimately, what do you have in max count? 3. What is the count of the maximum consecutive ones? It is nothing but 3. I hope you are able to understand. So now that you understood the logic, if I have to convert the same thing into code, how would I write code? Very simple. First of all, I will tell for I starts from the first element 0. It goes till the last element, which means length of A. How are you able to think? Inside this, first thing I will do is, I am going to create one variable called as count, and that will be initialized to 0. How are you able to understand? Now, j will help find how many ones are there, the count. So, I will tell for j starts from wherever I is starting. J has to go till the end of the loop. How are you able to understand? Inside that, what should j do? Check if in case, is the element at the jth index, is that equal to a 1? If that is equal to a 1, I will increment the value of count. That's it. But if it is not equal to 1, let me just take this code and put it this side. But tell me, if it is not equal to 1, then what should I do? See, for example, j was here. Okay, if it is equal to 1, increment count. If it is equal to 1, increment count. Now, if it is not equal to 1, you will come to else. What should you do? Should j move forward? No. Why do you want to waste going till here? Because chain broke. So, if j encounters a 0, you will come to else and tell j stop moving, break out of it. How will you forcefully break out of a loop? For that only, you have a statement in Java and in Python. That way, in every language called as break. It will forcefully break the loop. I hope you will understand. Once I forcefully break the loop and come outside, my duty is to now compare count and max count and see whichever value is greater, that should be max count. So what should I do? Very simple. I will just tell, please do one thing, update max count with what? Update max count with the maximum between whatever is there in count and whatever is there in max count. I hope you're able to understand. That's it. Okay. So this is your j loop. I'm just putting brackets so that you understand. And this is your I loop. Then once j loop finishes breaks, you update max count, I moves forward. If I moves forward, again reset count to 0. J will tell you how many ones are there and it will update max count, and this process keeps repeating. I hope you guys understood how this works. Now, if you look at the time complexity, obviously whenever you have nesting of loops, wouldn't you agree that it is a big O of n square solution? Because outer loop will go from first element to last element, which means it is n. In the worst case, the inner loop will also start from the first element, wherever I is, and may go till the end, which means this also may execute n times, which means n into n, which means it is nothing but big O of n square solution. I hope you will understand. And why should any company recruit a person who writes an n square solution? There is nothing, great about writing an n square solution. Obviously, they are looking for people who can come up with optimized solutions. So, is there a way to optimize this? Yes. As a matter of fact, this code, I want you guys to write it on your own, and I am sure all of you will be able to write it on your own. The optimized solution, let's look at it, and that we will be coding it together. Okay. So, shall we go and explore the optimized solution? Now, watch it. Here, now I am looking at the efficient approach, friends. Now, my aim is to reduce n square to n. That is my aim. If I should reduce n square to n, then obviously this inner loop should not be there only. Just in one iteration, I should be able to tell which is the maximum count of ones, right? Consecutive ones, which means this j loop should not be there. J should not be there only. Then how to do it? Listen and listen carefully. What I will do is like this. I am now going to start I. So, this efficient approach. Yeah. Watch this. What I am going to do is, I is going to start from the first element only. What I will do is very simple. I will check if the ith element is a 0. I repeat. I will check if the ith element is a 0. If ith element is a 0, then the count of this consecutive ones, I will make it as 0. I will make it as 0 because I know if I is 0, it means count is 0. Then I will move I forward. Okay, sir. Again, I will check. Is I 1 or is I 0? No, I is not 0. I is 1. If I is 1, I will increment the value of count. Count becomes 1. I hope you are able to understand. Great, sir. Next, what will you do? Next, what I will do is, the moment I increment count, I will immediately check max count and count. And I will see which value is greater, max count or count. Max count is 0, count is 1. Which is greater? 1. I will update that as max count, and that is what I am showing here. So, max count is going to become 1. Hope you able to understand. Okay, sir, what else? What else means I moves forward? Is this 0? No. No means increment count. Count becomes 2. The moment you increment count, check is count value greater or max count greater? Which is greater? Max count. Hence, max count is going to become 2. Max count is going to become 2. I hope you able to understand. Next, what happens, sir? I moves forward. Is I 0? Yes. Yes means I will go and I am going to make count back to 0. I will make it as 0. I hope you able to understand. And that only should happen because chain broke. And look at max count. So far, how many ones have you encountered? 2. Correctly, it is working. I hope you able to understand. So, what is the need for j? There was no need for j. Similarly, what I will do is, now I moves forward. Is it a 0? Yes. Yes means again I will make count as 0. It was anyway 0. I moves forward. Is I a 0? No. It is a 1. If it is a 1, immediately count is going to become incremented. The moment I increment count, I will check count and max count which is greater. Which is greater? Max count. So, max count will be equal to the same thing. It will be 2 only. Next, what will happen? I am going to now move I forward. Is this a 0? No, it is a 1. If it is a 1, I am going to increment the value of count, it becomes 2. Whenever you increment count, compare both the values, see which is maximum. And right now, maximum is max count only because it's not greater, it is equal to, which means 2 is only the max count. Again, what I am going to do is, I will move I forward. If I move I forward, is this a 0? No, it's a 1. If it's a 1 means immediately increment count, count becomes 3. The moment you increment count, check count and max count, which is greater. Which is greater? Count, which means that value will become max count. And hence, max count is going to become 3. Next, I moves forward. Is I 0? Yes. When I is 0, always go and make your count as 0. Hope you are able to understand. Next, I moves forward, goes outside the boundary. What is there inside max count? 3. What is the maximum number of consecutive ones? 3. Hope you are able to understand. In other words, with just one loop, one iteration, I was able to find the maximum count. Is it clear to everyone? Shall I show you how to write the code? Watch it. First and foremost, I will tell for. I begins from 0, correct. It goes to the end, so length of a. Right? What is I doing inside this? Simple condition. I will check if in case the ith element was 0. If the ith element is 0, immediately I made my count as 0. Else means it is 1 because it's either zeros or ones. If it is ones, immediately I incremented count. And I checked what is the maximum between count and max count. I hope you are able to understand. Whichever was maximum, that became max count. That became max count. That's it. That's it. So much more efficient, so much more easier. I hope you are able to understand. Now this efficient approach, what is the time complexity? Only one loop going from starting till ending, which means time complexity is big O of n. It's a big O of n solution. Obviously from n square you have brought it down to n, which is really, really good. Okay. Having said this, let's try to go code. Now let's directly write the code in LeetCode. So LeetCode expects us to complete this function called as find max consecutive ones. So I'll just change the name of this array to A. Can you do that? Of course you can. What is the problem? Now inside that what I will do is I'll declare integer variable count and I will make initially count as 0. Okay. And also I will be declaring an integer variable called as max count and I will declare that also as 0. Next what I'm going to do is I have to run a loop. So one more line space. I will tell for int I starting from 0. Next, I should go till the length, so I less than a dot length, and I will tell I plus plus, so that 1 by 1 it goes forward. Okay. Next, inside this, all we have to now essentially do is write the logic. So, what was the logic? Check if in case is a of I equal to 0. If a of I is equal to 0, I will make count as 0 because the chain is broken. So, count equal to 0. else means, what does else means? It is 1. If it is 1, all I have to do is ensure that I first increment count. So count plus plus. Next, I have to update max count. But max count should be updated only if the count's value was greater than max count, or whichever is the maximum between both only should be max count. So in the next line, I'll use a built-in function available in the math class called as max. And then I will pass both count and max count as parameters. So it will only tell me which is the maximum. Okay, whatever I get as the maximum, I will store it inside max count. So max count gets updated that way. And I will come outside the for loop, and ultimately we must return an integer outside the for loop, and there I will just tell return, and what has to be returned is max count, because ultimately it's maximum consecutive ones which we are trying to do. Now if in case I click on run code, then the basic test cases are okay, it is happening, fine, it is accepted. If I submit it, then reduce this. Yes, it has passed. Any confusion till here? Great. So I hope you enjoyed this program. Let's catch up in the next class with even more exciting programs. Take care. Bye-bye.